And so I took these errors and I pointed them out to our curriculum director. She got back to me and she said, we're just teaching the science, the Minnesota State Standards. And I asked, well, what standard says we're 1.6% different from chimpanzees? And she didn't answer the question, but the school board or the superintendent emailed me and said, we're in the process of reviewing your concern and our response are they contacting the publisher so they can take down the false information? No, they're contacting response with our district's law firm. What do you have to go contact a law firm for bad information? And so I thought, well, they're not doing anything, so I went to the school board meeting, and this is what I said.
I am here under the assumption that everybody would like accurate textbooks. If the publisher had a video that said, hey, we're 1.6% different from a chimpanzee, and in 2002, PubMed said that was wrong, and that's part of the NIH, and in 2010, it was Nature said that our Y chromosome is horrendously different. And then a PhD from Clemson who majored in genetics, he says, no, we're about 30% similar, or 30% different, not 1.6%. And so you could contact them and ask them if they would want to correct that. And also there was some video there that says if you got chemicals sloshing around for millions of years, it can start life, living organisms, and that goes against hydrolysis. Dr. Jonathan Safard, he explains how water breaks everything apart faster than it gets put together. And there was a NASA scientist that also reconfirmed that. And there's a video that says that our eyes are wired backwards because light has to go through these cells before it gets to the photoreceptors, and they can't figure out why. Well, actually, those cells are glial cells, and they're like fiber optics that magnify the red and the green light, and so it gives us optimum day and night vision. And then in the textbook it says in 2008 they found the Earth's oldest rock on the Hudson, near the Hudson Bay. And in 2019 NASA came out and said that they found the Earth's oldest rock on the moon. And so these things, I think, hopefully you can contact the publisher. Hopefully these errors can be taken out before the school year starts. And then if there's anybody who's interested in how a rock could get from the Earth to the moon, there's a theory that explains a lot of this, makes accurate predictions. And I've offered it to the curriculum director, and I asked if she could talk to the science department, get it lead, because I think kids would be really excited to hear a theory that makes accurate predictions, especially how you get a rock from the Earth to the moon. And they also accurately predicted what they'd find in a comet, what asteroids would be composed of, and NASA their perspective of how the things formed was wrong.
None of the school board contacted me, so I emailed every one of them and asked them, did this get discussed, and what action was taken? And I got this from one of them, and they said, the superintendent let us know that you've been working on it with the curriculum director. It's like, well, if they were working with me, I wouldn't have to go to the school board meeting. And then I got another email back, and it's the exact same paragraph of what somebody else did. And it says, Dear Mr. Lauer, blah, 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 over the past months of your communication, Director so-and-so has reviewed your concerns carefully and also passed them along for review to our science lead teacher. We have prepared a response which is being reviewed by the legal counsel as Superintendent so-and-so shared with you. And just, it starts out over the past months and it ends shared with you. Look at this paragraph from somebody else. It's identical. They're getting the talking points. And so it's like, well, they're not going to do anything. So I went back 2 weeks later, and this is what I said.
All right, I'm Brian Lauer, and I came here a couple of weeks ago, and I had the assumption that we all want accurate textbooks. And I'm not so sure about that, because as far as I know, the errors are still in the textbooks. 6 weeks ago, I contacted the curriculum director on July 23rd, and I pointed out some errors. And I gave her government documents that show this is false information. And I asked her if she could contact the publisher so we could take down this false information before the school year started. Well, that didn't happen. So I came here 2 weeks ago and asked the board, could you contact the publishers and let them know about this information that's questionable? Well, that didn't happen. We're supposedly waiting for some law firm to do something. And I'm not sure why we contacted a law firm. Why didn't we just pick up the phone and call customer service and say, you have a video that says we're 1.6% different from chimpanzees. And according to PubMed and Nature, that's not right. What are your sources? And another video that says that our eyes are wired backwards. It would be more logical if we had octopus eyes. And that's been debunked by the Smithsonian. And another video says that if you have chemicals sloshing around for millions of years, it can lead to living organisms. And that can't happen because of hydrolysis, and there's a NASA scientist that verifies that. And then there's another video that shows a image of embryos, and it doesn't matter if you're a bird, a bunny, or a person, but the embryos are all pretty much the same. And those images are real similar to Haeckel's fake drawings, which were proven frauds 100 years ago. Could you double check these images and make sure that they're what you're presenting? And then there's, in the textbook it says that the Earth's oldest rock was found in 2008 near Hudson Bay, but in 2019, NASA said they found the Earth's oldest rock on the moon. So there's some errors in the textbooks. And the bad thing is, the school year has started. So now this information is in the textbooks, and the kids could be taught false information in St. Cloud and around the country, whoever's using that curriculum. And so it bothers me, and I hope it bothers you enough to contact the publishers and just let them know about this false information. They might thank you because they might not be aware of it. And it's, I'll help you. I emailed every one of you. You should have my email address because I really want accurate information in the textbooks. And if it doesn't bother you, and you have no problem having false information in the textbooks, and you don't warn the parents or the teachers or the students until this false information is taken down, that's getting real close to knowingly lying to students. And I don't think that attitude should be tolerated. And I hope that's not, I'm assuming there's nobody in the room like that. And I hope there isn't anybody in the room like that. But if there is, that person should be reprimanded or voted out at the next election. So again, I think we need accurate textbooks, and I hope that you act on this. Thank you.
Yeah, I emailed the curriculum director and I asked her if that iVideo was still up because
Would anybody else like to participate?
because I don't have any access to the books anymore. And then I asked her if the teachers have been informed not to use it, and if not, why not? And she never responded. But I got something from the superintendent the next day, and it says basically that this concern has been resolved. They're considering it resolved, keeping the errors in the textbooks. And then they did a bunch of word salads saying stuff, and that's despicable. I just can't imagine that. And they say that, well, kids can consider multiple options, multiple viewpoints, but they're not in the textbooks. It's just a blind chance perspective. The people in charge don't want things to change because they got the power. And we've seen this happen in history. But Walt Brown says, widespread belief systems seldom change when frequently reinforced by influential institutions such as universities, media, religious institutions, and scientific and intellectual elite. Yeah, they don't want things to change. They got the power. But when a vast number of people realize they've been misled, an intellectual revolution begins. That's what I'm trying to do. Get a vast number of people to realize, hey, the emperor has no clothes. I'm not playing that game anymore. There's no evidence for evolution.